Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Ricochet Anti Cheat, as we know, is not a very good anti-cheat. The cheating issue in Call of Duty, in Warzone, in multiplayer, you name it, it's been problematic for years. It obviously was absolutely awful prior to the Ricochet Anti Cheat, but then even since that's been live in COD for several years now, there hasn't been a significant decrease in the cheating issue year over year, whether it's happening in multiplayer at launch, whether it's happening during the betas at times, whether it's happening in free-to-play Warzone, where it's the most noticeable, it seems. Ricochet Anti Cheat has been wildly underwhelming, right? And recently, another anti-cheat developer here in the gaming scene actually kind of called out Ricochet, and it's not a very good look for Call of Duty whatsoever. To add some context here though, Ricochet has kind of been under fire the past couple of weeks or so because of some major issues going on, specifically with ranked play, because Call of Duty kind of brought this on themselves, if I'm being honest. They hyped up that the Ricochet Anti-Cheat was going to be upgraded and updated for ranked play. There was going to be more limitations, more restrictions in place to make it harder for cheaters to actually get into ranked matches, and already we were going to see some updates in general for Black Ops 6 for the Anti-Cheat, for it to improve and detect cheaters better. And then ranked play launched and it was a hack-filled, cheat-filled mess, right? So Ricochet put out a new update pretty early on into the ranked play season being live, talking about how they're fixing issues with data outages that was causing Ricochet to not actually detect cheaters. That's a wild misstep. Like, I don't know how that happens when you gas up how good your anti-cheat's gonna be, and then it's out the first day that the mode is live, right? They adjusted thresholds to be more aggressive with accounts, and they made these updates here, and the update went out, and everyone's like, you know, this didn't really do anything. The cheating is still bad. They're everywhere. This didn't seem to change anything. Like, if anything, it just ended up affecting shadow bans more and making those easier to trigger, which is just an entirely backward system. That's a different conversation for a different day, but the reaction to this first anti-cheat update was not good. So in response to the first underwhelming anti-cheat update, Ricochet put out another new update saying that they were going to optimize the AI systems even more to accelerate enforcements. They were banning almost 20,000 accounts, but that's a reactionary measure, not a preventative measure, so that doesn't really do all that much for those already affected by those cheaters. They also said they were going to make hourly sweeps to remove cheaters from actual ranked play matches and also the leaderboard. But just like the first update, this anti-cheat update also kind of backfired. So Charlie Intel posts covering this saying, hey, you know, a new Ricochet anti-cheat update is live. They've banned a bunch of accounts. They're making all these measures that we just talked about. And Nadeshot, who's been streaming his ranked play grind with a couple of his buddies, they're obviously, you know, going for top 250. They're going for the absolute top ranks in the world as they grind on stream every day. He was actually responding to this, and it again just makes Ricochet look kind of underwhelming, and it's just not great at all. So he says, yo, can someone send me some screenshots of the top 250 leaderboard right now? I'm not at my PC. I want to confirm if they've actually gone through and sweeped names from the leaderboard, removed cheaters from that to obviously make their gameplay more fair and their ranks more accurate. This seems impossible because I've played the same cheaters since day one and not a single one of them has seen a scratch on them. And then a bunch of people responded, screenshotted the ranked play leaderboards just after this update went out saying they removed people from it, and he goes, it's complete propaganda. 10 names minimum in the first 3 pages. We've seen spin botting live on our streams. How could there be 19,000 accounts banned when the most egregious abusers are given the middle finger on the leaderboard? Are we crazy? What's going on? So basically just calling out saying, you say these things, you type these things out, but you're not actually doing them in game, or it's not reflecting in game. Now I think since being called out by Nade, they've gone through and they have scrubbed some names from the leaderboards. I know the #1 person in the world for ranked stayed well beyond this update going out, which is just a terrible look. But unfortunately for Ricochet, it doesn't get any better. As I alluded to at the start of the video, a fellow anti-cheat developer actually has gone through and called out Ricochet with all of its major flaws. And by the way, of course, every single day we're covering the latest need-to-know details and info for Call of Duty. So if Ricochet ever gets actual significant updates, which we can cross our fingers hopefully will eventually happen, if they ever pivot to something else, or of course if there's just random day-to-day updates going on in COD, any major news or announcements, I got you guys covered. So if you want to help us on the road to 1 million subscribers, we're under 20,000 away from hitting that milestone now. Feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications, and if you enjoy this video, just want to shine more light on the anti-cheat being kind of a failure so far, a like is always seriously appreciated. Help share the video around to new viewers and bring more attention to these subjects. But as mentioned, we have some pretty spicy news, I would say. So it's GamerDoc on Twitter, or X, is actually a staff on the anti-cheat for Riot. That's Vanguard anti-cheat, which is largely considered to be one of the better ones that we've got in the industry right now. It is a kernel level anti-cheat as well. It's one that a lot of Call of Duty players wish they had something similar to, right? Like, for what it's worth, there is still a cheating issue in different Riot games, you know, for Valorant and other stuff like that. And there always will be cheaters in any major online popular game. It's just a matter of how many are there going to be, how easy is it going to be to get cheats onto a game like that. You'll never fully solve it. That's just the nature of gaming and tech these days. But there's obviously clear distinctions of how bad cheating is in Call of Duty versus how bad it might be on a Riot Vanguard anti-cheat. And this is what one of the devs at the Vanguard anti-cheat says. If it were up to me, I'd shift focus away from over-reliance on AI systems from solving these issues. And I think this is something a lot of players would agree with, considering that a lot of the AI systems, like the default chat bans, if you get reported for voice comms, even if you weren't talking, like someone can just maliciously say, hey, I'm going to report him for voice comms because I know the system's busted, you can get comm banned without literally saying anything at all. You could never use your mic in game and get comm banned because the AI system is so busted. The shadow ban system, which obviously sucks as well. You get flagged a couple of times off of a few different people reporting you just because, again, they don't like you. Like, you could be legitimately reported because you're suspicious, or you could be reported because you trashed on somebody and destroyed their squad, and you have an equal chance of getting shadow banned. Like, that system sucks so much too, as we've talked about like a dozen times over the last few years. While AI has its place, it's clear that it's not fully addressing the core problem, which is, again, absolutely true. It creates maybe even more problems because of how bad the shadow ban and chat ban systems are. A more effective approach might be targeting the cheats directly rather than relying solely on data, heuristics, or aim models to identify suspicious behavior. So just some friendly advice, I guess, there. With a kernel level driver in place, it should be feasible to detect cheats running locally on the machine without needing a boot/start driver. So if you didn't know, Ricochet is technically a kernel level driver, but it's only a kernel level driver when you open up Call of Duty. So other anti-cheats, like Valorant's, for instance, are there when you boot up your PC. Some players don't like that because they say it's too invasive. I understand that POV, but also if you really want to stop cheats, it's just kind of something you have to live with. But with Ricochet, it's only active if Call of Duty is running. So if you have the game closed and you have cheats on your system, it's not going to detect those. The tools are there, and it's a matter of deploying them effectively. So basically just saying, hey, COD can do this, they're just not doing it well. Additionally, I find it concerning that console players are forced into an unsafe competitive environment. If crossplay is going to be required, perhaps enforcing certain Windows security features at a level comparable to Xbox or PlayStation would help create a more fair and balanced playing field for those who care about competitive integrity. This is another great point, and actually something that's been highlighted a lot this year, because in past years, especially for like ranked play, you could go through and actually disable crossplay on PlayStation and then not have to worry about running into nearly as many cheaters. You might get someone using a Cronus, or very rare a one-off actual cheater that's on PlayStation or on console, but we all know the vast majority of cheaters are on PC. So having forced crossplay means you're gonna run into that more often. And this year they decided to make it so you cannot disable crossplay even in ranked mode, which in the past, as mentioned, has been an option. So they kind of just doubled down on forcing you to have the potential to run into more cheaters. So that's a big deal there too. Crossplay definitely should be optional if the cheating situation is gonna be this bad. No one expects cheating to be 0%. That's an unrealistic goal. As I talked about earlier, there will unfortunately always be cheaters because losers persist at all levels and they're not going to stop, but you can attack them better. But when cheating becomes prevalent to the point where it heavily impacts top players and the competitive ecosystem, it's a sign that the current approach may need to be reconsidered. The player experience should always come first and not last. So what GamerDoc is basically saying here in a nice way is that Ricochet could be so much better. They could be so much more effective, and that they're going about it, at least in their opinion, in a very wrong way, in a way that's not efficient, it's not effective, and clearly has significant flaws. And I think there's a lot of merit here because of the sourcing here. This is someone who is developing and works on a different anti-cheat that's been proven to be much more effective than Call of Duty. So definitely not a great look when a fellow anti-cheat developer can just sit there and say, hey, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. If you did this, it'd probably be a lot better. Also, your system is not really treating players all that great. It's a pretty bad look from an industry standpoint, and obviously it's a really bad look from a player-based standpoint. So just not great for Call of Duty in general. They're kind of getting piled on here, but I think it's, you know, rightfully so. Ricochet's not good. We've been shouting this from the mountaintops for years now, and we never have really seen an actual significant response. It's, oh, we banned 20,000 accounts. 50% of those created a new account the next day and continued cheating anyways. Oh, we're making new changes to our detection system. Doesn't detect anything all that different. There's still the same cheating problem that's been going on maybe a week after that update went out. It might be good for a couple of days, but then the cheat devs figure it out and they're right back to where they were prior to any updates going out. So it's a never-ending battle for sure. Like, there always will be a back and forth tug of war here with the anti-cheat versus cheaters. But it shouldn't be that the cheaters are winning by this significant of a margin so easily, basically from the description and the breakdown here. So definitely an interesting conversation for sure. If you enjoyed the video though, a like would be seriously appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, you want to guarantee that on a daily basis, really twice daily since I double upload, you are in the know for everything going on in COD. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications. That is going to wrap things up for this one. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy. Have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.